On this Saturday night, the rising number of COVID-19 cases in young Ontarians.
There was a massive spike in case numbers, and that's alarming. It's concerning.
Why the province is hesitant to send kids back to school. A Boeing jet disappears after takeoff in Indonesia. What happened to the aircraft and the dozens of people on it? Impeaching Donald Trump a second time.
The person who's running the executive branch is a deranged, unhinged, dangerous president.
What it will take for Democrats to pull off this unprecedented move, and how Canada could speed up its conversion to electric cars.
The money that was been made from fossil fuels is going to have to be channeled into the clean technologies.
And the country that's already doing it.
Global National with Robin Gill. Reporting tonight, Colleen Christie.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight in Ontario, where new modelling set to be released next week shows an alarming spike of COVID-19 cases in young people. The province is now extending its free childcare program to include more frontline workers as it considers extending the school break even further. Morganne Campbell has our top story tonight.
Zoom calls every day. You know, you get to ask questions, you get, assigned work, and it's not that bad.
10-year-old Derek Ivels is describing his day in the life of online learning. He is one of many Ontarians working and learning from home while the province grapples with more than 3,000 new cases of COVID-19 for the 6th straight day.
There was a massive spike in case numbers, and that's alarming. It's concerning.
Ontario is reporting a nearly 120% increase in the number of cases among school-aged children, which in part is the reason why Ontario's education minister has made the decision to keep students in southern Ontario out of the classroom until at least January 25th.
The trend is problematic, and we have to take this seriously.
The provincial government is expected to present new modelling data Monday. According to the minister, 80% of Ontario schools weren't experiencing outbreaks prior to the holiday break. It is believed that that spike in cases we are currently seeing right now, especially among children, is a direct result of people gathering during the holidays. Something many medical professionals across Canada have been warning about.
Ultimately, the long-term goal is to keep schools open. But I think this is how we do it, because we don't want to open up the schools and then shut them down again because all these families are getting sick.
But parents say they feel as if they have been kept in the dark.
I can take it, just tell me the truth so I know what to expect and how I can plan accordingly for my family.
And are concerned about the quality of education online.
I can't lie, it's definitely hectic. I think most of it is they're just bored, cooped up inside of a house. So they're all, young kids are just busy and they just can't sit in the house.
Meantime, Ontario is planning to expand the free childcare offered to frontline workers to include several other forward-facing professions. Morganne Campbell, Global News, Toronto.
In Quebec tonight, a month-long curfew comes into effect as the province smashes another daily record for COVID-19 cases. Quebec logged more than 3,000 new cases today, more than 1,500 of them in Montreal. That's nearly double the number reported on Thursday. To curb the spread, anyone out between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. could face fines ranging from $1,000 to $6,000. The province is imposing the curfew to prevent gatherings. In a Facebook post today, Premier François Legault says it's all the small breaches of the rules that feed the virus. More police are expected to be deployed to crack down on curfew breakers. An Indonesian airliner went missing today, shortly after taking off from the country's capital. Contact was lost with Sriwijaya Air Flight 182 just 4 minutes after taking off from Jakarta. Search crews have discovered debris floating in the water near the area where it went off the radar. 50 passengers and 12 crew members were on board. As Mike Le Couteur reports, their families are fearing the worst.
Even through their masks, you can see the anguish on the faces of family members as they hear the plane is missing. Yamanzai can no longer keep in the pain as he realizes his wife and 3 daughters may be gone. I was supposed to pick them up, he says through tears. This is my first daughter. I won't be able to meet them again. Off the coast of Jakarta, the Indonesian National Search and Rescue Agency combed the waters of the Java Sea, looking for any sign of the airliner. Later, they were seen on shore examining a body bag containing debris suspected to be from Sriwijaya Air Flight 182. Indonesia's transport minister isn't sure what led to the apparent crash, but they are investigating all avenues. We are coordinating with the Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysical Agency to find out what the weather conditions were like at the time, he says. Heavy rain delayed departure, but once the plane did take off, everything seemed normal, as you can see in this radar tracker. 4 minutes later, it veers off course and drops out of the sky. The head of the airline expressed sorrow at a news conference, but he insists the plane was fit to fly. There shouldn't have been any problem, and the maintenance report was also fine, says Jefferson Irwin Jawina. But maintenance and safety have been an issue in that part of the world. Airline experts say the rapid growth of the industry in Southeast Asia has led to some corner cutting.
But again, because of the growth and less experienced people, their records are not quite as unblemished as that of North America or Europe.
Now, it's not clear what went wrong, but we do know it was a Boeing 737. In a statement, the company acknowledged the media reports, saying, quote, "Our thoughts are with the crew, passengers, and their families." This week, Boeing was ordered to pay $2.5 billion US to settle a criminal investigation into 2 deadly 737 MAX plane crashes. 346 people were killed, including 18 Canadians. And another incident could impact consumer confidence.
I think that's probably an overreaction, but it's something that people are going to think about, particularly the non-frequent flyers that make a big part of our flying public.
Meantime, Indonesian search and rescue teams will continue to scour the debris field from the air and underwater, hoping to find the plane's flight data recorder. Mike Le Couteur, Global News.
A 14-year-old Russian boy is the sole member of his family to survive an avalanche that struck a ski resort in the country's Arctic. More than 200 rescuers and volunteers rushed to search for survivors after the snow came crashing down early today. The boy, dug out alive, is being treated in hospital for serious injuries, including frostbite. But the lifeless bodies of 2 adults believed to be his parents and an 18-month-old child were also pulled from the snow. Officials say they aren't looking for any other missing people. To the situation in the U.S. now. Democrats are swiftly laying plans to impeach President Trump for a second time. If that happens, he would be the first president in American history to hold that dubious distinction. As Jennifer Johnson explains, the proceedings could begin in a matter of days.
After surviving an attack on the Capitol, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is on the attack, putting forth an article of impeachment against President Donald Trump, accusing him of incitement of insurrection. It could be introduced Monday.
The person who's running the executive branch is a deranged, unhinged, dangerous president of the United States.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
The article alleges Trump's conduct gravely endangered the security of the United States. The president has now been silenced by his favorite platform, Twitter, which permanently suspended his account, citing risk of further violence. The White House put out a statement saying another impeachment trial will only further divide the country. A second impeachment and a Senate conviction would disqualify Trump from running for president in 2024 or ever holding any public office. Outgoing Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says the earliest the Senate could hold an impeachment trial is January 19th, Trump's last full day in office. Democrats are encouraging the Senate to return sooner.
This is a president who incited an attempted coup to stop the certification of the next president of the United States to remain in power.
The first Senate Republican has now called on the president to go. Senator Lisa Murkowski saying, "I want him to resign. I want him out. He has caused enough damage." Invoking the 25th Amendment, removing the president from office, has been discussed, but White House insiders say Vice President Mike Pence is unwilling to take that step. The deadly riot left 5 people dead, including Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick, who was hit in the head with a fire extinguisher, only the 4th Capitol officer to die in the line of duty in the force's almost 200-year history. Anti-Trump protesters have set up camp on the National Mall.
When the democracy is under attack!
But Trump supporters are still here too.
The Insurrection Act is happening, people!
More people from the pro-Trump mob that stormed the Capitol are being arrested, including Adam Johnson, pictured carrying Nancy Pelosi's lectern, and Jacob Anthony Chansley, seen inside the Senate chamber. As police search for more rioters, officials are preparing for a massive military presence on Inauguration Day, after the worst security breach at the Capitol since the War of 1812. Jennifer Johnson, Global News, Washington.
Pundits and politicians are condemning what happened this week, but that's not the case in some corners of the internet. President Trump's baseless claims of a stolen election sparked online conspiracy theories. And as Mike Armstrong explains, disinformation fueled the anger that led to the storming of the Capitol.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
Some have called this the moment Donald Trump finally threw the match.
Hold them this way!
If police didn't expect what happened next, there are others who predicted it. Emotions were running too high for too long, and political scientist Matthew Lebo says people should have seen it coming.
This is where the country's been going for years, and this is where Trump has been leading his crowds, certainly for the past few months.
They are marching through now. The rhetoric since the November election has been daily and dangerous. Team Trump claiming the election had been stolen, pushing, in fact, multiple conspiracy theories.
There is no shredding of ballots going on. That's not real.
In Georgia, the Secretary of State has pushed back and asked the president to stop.
I easily win.
Warning about the tension he was ratcheting up and the possibility it could get someone shot.
They don't get to steal it from us. We want our country back.
Conspiracy theories may have been the fuel for the riots, but they're also being used to explain them away. Whether it's allegations police supported the mob or people arguing infiltrators were responsible for the violence.
Most of the people that was in the Capitol was Antifa.
They're doing the damage to make our group look bad.
Now, conspiracy theories have been around basically forever, but Donald Trump has harnessed them like few before.
They stole it, they're thieves.
Part of it's been right-wing media, the other, social media. Every conspiratorial claim since birtherism has been disseminated and amplified by Twitter and Facebook.
Those who run the new media have abdicated any civic responsibility and any journalistic responsibility. And in that world, that's a very dangerous world to live in. It's a very dangerous world for democracy.
Now, Twitter and Facebook have pushed back this week, but many say it comes too late.
This is only happening near the end of his term. They should have been braver, bolder, more courageous in limiting his disinformation a long time ago.
You'll never take back our country with weakness.
Now, Trump and his followers do have options. Other social media apps like Parler or Telegram. They're growing specifically because there's no gatekeeping and they're harder to follow.
That's probably, in my view, the danger, because for us as researchers, it's very hard to monitor these personalized, private mobile apps.
The newer social media are also even more of an echo chamber, where misinformation is amplified and less likely to be challenged. As for the solution, it took years to reach this point. Experts say it will take years to dig our way out. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.
Coming up next, why Canada's vaccine rollout is moving slower than in other countries. Vaccines have been billed as the golden ticket for a return to normal life. But Canada's vaccine rollout has been sluggish. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has called the rise in COVID-19 cases across this country frightening, and he's promised to pick up the pace on vaccinations. This week on the West Block, our Ottawa Bureau Chief Mercedes Stevenson asks why Canada is moving at a slower pace than other countries and what Ottawa is prepared to do about it. Mercedes.
Colleen, the vaccine rollout is top of mind for Canadians anxious to be able to hug their grandparents, go to concerts, or even just send their kids back to school. Not to mention the small businesses who have been suffering under lockdown measures and the massive costs of ongoing federal programs designed to support Canadians. And while the Liberal government has made big promises on vaccines, having bought the highest number of vaccines per capita of any country in the world, The pace of that rollout is being criticized by the opposition, by some premiers, and by doctors and scientists who say it's too slow with lives on the line. Canada lags behind several other countries in the number of people being vaccinated, including the US, UK, and Israel. Canada has vaccinated fewer than 250,000 people, while Israel has vaccinated more than 1.5 million, and the UK has vaccinated over 1 million as well. There are reports that Israel paid a premium to get access to vaccines faster. I asked Minister LeBlanc if Canada is willing to do the same. LeBlanc wouldn't disclose specifics, but said the cost will be no obstacle.
We've said from the beginning, price will not be a barrier for Canada getting as quickly as possible all of the doses we need. So those companies know that it's not some other country offering some premium that's going to change the delivery date to Canada. We've said, and we've successfully negotiated with them based on an extremely aggressive procurement strategy.
On Friday, federal officials said Canada will scale up its vaccine supply by the end of February. But the provinces say they are running out now, with Ontario Premier Doug Ford saying the province will run out of vaccines within the next week, a claim Minister LeBlanc disagreed with.
If you knew you had 200,000 in a week, how sincere is it to say, oh my God, at the end of the week, we don't have any more vaccines? Of course you don't, because there are more coming next week. And then the week after, there are even more.
We'll have more on Canada's slow vaccine progress and what the government is planning to do about it Sunday on the West Block. Colleen?
Mercedes Stevenson in Ottawa. Thanks, Mercedes. A regimental funeral was held this afternoon to honor a fallen Calgary police officer. The memorial for Sergeant Andrew Harnett was private, but a procession took place to allow the public to pay tribute. The 14-year veteran of the force died on New Year's Eve after being struck by a vehicle during a traffic stop. The 37-year-old leaves behind his wife, Chelsea, who is pregnant with their first child. 2 people are now facing first-degree murder charges in connection with Harnett's death. Just ahead, the UK reaches a COVID tipping point, and the Queen and Prince Philip receive their first vaccines.
You're watching Global National.
The United Kingdom has reached a new grim pandemic milestone. More than 81,000 people have now died from the virus. That's the highest death toll in Europe. The UK is also the first European country to surpass 3 million confirmed COVID-19 cases. The surge in cases is overwhelming hospitals right across the UK. Many intensive care units are now at or over capacity. Doctors are warning the pressure on the healthcare system is likely to worsen in the coming weeks. The country's vaccine rollout has reached the royal family. 94-year-old Queen Elizabeth has received her first dose, along with her 99-year-old husband, Philip. A royal doctor administered the shots at Windsor Castle. It's unclear which vaccine was given to the couple, whose ages put them in Britain's second priority group. Royal sources say the private matter was made public to prevent speculation. India will begin the world's largest vaccination drive in 1 week, with the goal of reaching 300 million people by July. 2 nationwide dry runs were done to prepare for the mammoth rollout. The country has approved 2 COVID-19 vaccines, one by AstraZeneca and Oxford University, the other by India's Bharat Biotech. India's population exceeds 1.3 billion, with 10 million COVID-19 cases so far. Up next, the electric car revolution and the one country that's leaving Canada in its dust. Norway has become the first country in the world where the majority of vehicles sold are electric. In fact, the Nordic nation aims to eliminate all gasoline car sales within just 4 years. Redmond Shannon looks at how Canada compares and why buying electric isn't always a simple decision.
Norway, peaceful, progressive and beautiful, a country that tends to find itself at the top of all the good lists. So it's no surprise that Norwegians now buy more battery electric vehicles than all other car types combined. In fact, in 2020, only 17% of passenger vehicle sales were gasoline or diesel.
The most popular model in Norway in 2020 was the Audi e-tron. And that is not a cheap car. either in Canada or in the UK or in Norway.
It's mostly down to big financial incentives, including an exemption from import tax and the 25% sales tax, no annual road tax, and large discounts on tolls and ferries. They can also use bus lanes, which is starting to become a problem.
A daughter of a friend of mine, she said to her father, "Look, father, there's a bus in the Tesla lane."
It also helps that Norway is rich, its wealth ironically coming from its fossil fuel exports.
But in the end, that's what's going to have to happen on an enormous scale. The money that was been made from fossil fuels is going to have to be channeled into the clean technologies of the future that we need.
One criticism of electric cars is the environmental impact of large batteries.
There needs to be a multi-pronged strategy led by governments, but also participated in by businesses, that mean that we can address the sourcing issues for the metals that are essential to go into battery electric vehicles.
In Canada, where SUVs and pickups dominate, electric vehicles make up less than 3% of sales.
Those bigger vehicles have been a bit slower coming on the electric side, but they're coming quickly.
Ottawa offers a $5,000 incentive. Quebec adds an $8,000 rebate on top of that.
The trajectory is clearly there. That's happening. The automakers are ramping up for that. You can see the sales trajectory is going in that direction.
GM says it wants to overtake Tesla and sell 1 million e-cars in North America by 2025. But by then, Norway will have eliminated all gasoline vehicle sales. Canada's goal is to do the same by 2040. Redmond Shannon, Global News, London.
And that is Global National for this Saturday. I'm Colleen Christie. Tonight's Your Canada is Fireman's Park in Niagara Falls, Ontario. We love to see your part of our beautiful country. Email your photos to viewers@globalnational.com. Thanks for watching. Hope you'll join us again tomorrow. Have a great night.